Coach,
What's up, man?
you were saying that you had some recruiting updates, and
That
there
cup,
are
man.
some.
Put that cup up. Don't you pull that cup out. You're not getting that out of me today. You're not getting.
Well, there are some guys that you and I both think could be the Nets to commit.
Um, like realistically speaking, I can't say an order because I have some intel that this is supposed to be some big event. Like this is supposed to be some big reveal of what this class, the majority of the nucleus of this class is going to be made up of. And we're talking about some heavy hitting names. And a lot of guys have already, set their commitment dates for early July. You got Xavier Griffin and I think Cedarian Morgan, and a few more names that are going to be committing between in the first 2 weeks of July. And then you have some guys that have set commitment dates later in July, but they're making these extra visits. From what I'm hearing is Brian Williams is another prospect that Alabama is targeting heavy, wide receiver out of Florida, that they're targeting heavy. And speaking with his training staff that he goes and does his development training with, the young man has always been high on Alabama, especially now with the quarterback situation with Keelan Russell. That's something that's very attractive to him. And the future, with the offensive line that's being set up, a lot of talented guys that he's been able to compete with in 7-on-7 circuits that he's very familiar with. A lot of continuity there in the locker room that a lot of people weren't talking about because he is in a 5-star, 4-star, highly rated, talked about guy. So exciting to get him on. But you look at how this recruiting class is shaping up, man. I look for a commitment soon from Malachi Lee. I talked about this on my show, man. Malachi Lee is a guy that I'm looking to lean towards Alabama and commit soon. Titan Davis is a realistic commitment. Elijah Golden's commitment, not commitment, but his visit last week was huge. This past weekend was huge, and making some leeway with him. We had a few guys, show up today that probably aren't Bama leans, but just having them there creates value and kind of pushes them other guys that we're actually targeting to go ahead and commit. And with this new NIL structure, a lot of guys are having a lot more decisive, being able to be a lot more decisive in this situation because there's rules outlining things. Whoever's structuring their NIL distribution now, right, with the football programs, they're the ones that's winning in recruiting right now because they're able to realistically put things in perspective for families and these students when it comes to handling that business aspect. And then we all know that Alabama's going to provide all of your top tier, state-of-the-art quality performance training, all of the things that you want to prepare yourself for the next level. So Malachi Lee is a huge prospect. I think he's going to be the next one. If you was to ask me who was next, I think he would be the one that come out and go ahead and commit. But with this week, I wouldn't be surprised if Cedarian Morgan pulls the trigger. He's supposed to show up on campus Thursday. He just came off the Auburn visit last weekend. Has been very active during his official visit season. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled the trigger early. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an Xavier Griffin commitment, an official Xavier Correll announcement. This is Big Bama weekend. The 20th, the last weekend of official visits is Big Bama weekend. That's what I like to call it. So you can see some big things when this staff has you in their wheelhouse. They have your attention. They can convince you to do some things and believe in some things. And you leave that event like, oh man, hurry up and get through my senior year. Let me just get through my senior year healthy. Let me get on campus in spring because I could be the next face of Alabama football. I could be the next phase of what this team is going to become because they're really giving opportunities. And they're going to pay me to give me an opportunity. And they're going to make sure I get an education to get an opportunity. Like, it's kind of hard to miss when you are a priority. And that's what this staff has a good ability to do in making everybody feel like a priority.
Well, and I was thinking, Jeff's got a question. He wants to know about Brooks. How you feeling about him?
I think we're going to get a late commit from Kamari Brooks. I don't think he's going to be one of the early guys. And if he is an early guy, it's because of the connection that I've been seeing between him, Griffin, Matthews, Kamari Johnson, interior, Elijah Golden. Like, I feel like those guys would do a like group commit type feel. You know what I'm saying? Like if we, because that's what this day and age is becoming, man. It's got to be some type of pizzazz. It's got to be some type of flash. And it would not be crazy to see guys that are close in proximity as far as being in some of the same 7-on-7 circuits, some of the same AAU circuits, growing up, travel ball, playing against each other, playing on the same team with a lot of these guys, right? From these areas. They've seen each other. It would not be crazy to see them like pull a muscle move, kind of like the 25 class did. With Luke Metz and Duke Johnson and Keelan Russell, they all started stepping when they came together within that 2-week time span of committing. It became real good for Alabama in that class. So I think we could see the staff possibly pushing that same type of agenda and same type of feel around this recruiting class. And I appreciate everybody in the chat. Don't forget to run up the likes in the chat. Make sure you're sharing the live stream. If you are in here from the AAA family, we should have at least 10 or 15 shares right now already on the public websites. Make sure you're sharing it on the Facebook public groups when it comes to Alabama football. The Alabama voice of college football is definitely the place you want to be. But Jackson, I got a question, man.
Okay.
Ask me who I felt like was going to be the next commit. Who's the big commit? Who in your mind the target that really creates this is the class feel for you?
That's a good question. I was thinking Nick Abrams. That's who I think could be that next commit, because it's looking like, and let's see, July 16th, we're waiting it out, and it says he's choosing between Oregon, Michigan, Alabama, Duke. I mean, I think Duke's getting out. I mean, no. Oh, my mistake. Georgia? Yeah, no. Nobody wants to play for Mike Bobo. Sorry.
Well, Abrams is a linebacker. Yeah, and my thing with Abrams is I have a certain relationship with that family, right?
Oh, wow.
And the Bama feels like you don't come to Bama and not feel like this could be the place for you. It's just everything is available for you. It comes down to the small things. NIL is not a problem for him. That's not the problem. It's literally, where can I go and give myself the best opportunity to develop and put out film to where I'm in the league. I'm in position to be in the league in 3 years. A young man that has aspirations of early enrolling, right? Wants to be a 3-year graduate, right? These are things that he wants to have. And so when you look at schematically how he can do that and be on the field, right? It's very few options that are going to provide that. Michigan has a lot of opportunities. They have the same situation that happened in Michigan, except I don't think they're as stacked in the linebacker room as Alabama for the future. So you got projections of transition right in front of you, where Alabama right now inside linebacker room post this season 3 guaranteed and possibly 2 guys on roster that aren't getting veteran type reps, right? So a possibility of 5 inside linebackers leaving this room, a possibility of 6 or 7 total leaving the linebacker room. So a guy like Nick Abrams, who can play the edge, who can play the interior, having him as a prospect and seeing him gain interest, and now finally having the opportunity to look at the depth and on the roster in front of him and say, okay, this is more along the lines of the progress I need to be on. I got to develop in my frame. He understands all of these aspects around his recruiting. Alabama making some leeway with this last week visit, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see him develop, man, because he's one of my personal favorites in this class. Where, like you said, I don't think he's a swing commit, but I think he's one of the hidden gems that when you get him, you got a serious steal. You got an overvalued, overly undervalued steal in Nick Abrams. But I think Michigan is firmly in that, like, right there in the competition to get that commitment.
Well, and I also think Crowell could be that Nets commit for the Crimson Tide, but we'll definitely know more next Thursday, as he will be making his decision on that very day. Yeah. And Jordan Wright says he believes Abrams would have a really good chance at getting in this linebacker rotation in his freshman year. I could see that. I could honestly see that.
Oh, yeah, me too. I mean, and you got to think about it, man. You're talking about a young man that's going to possibly just naturally going to migrate to the inside linebacker position. Just looking at the type of skill set that he brings to the table. He gives you Jahad Campbell. And people forget, Jahad Campbell started off in the outside linebacker room too. when he came to the college level, and then transitioned to the inside linebacker room as a true freshman, and developed that true freshman year. You saw him his red shirt freshman year, red shirt sophomore year. The guy's a freaking stud. First round draft pick. 3 years, and just took a year to develop. Played some spots as a true freshman, and came from a system where they put out quality guys. Jahad was IMG, right?
Uh-huh.
Jahad Campbell IMG. So a lot of quality prospects in this class. Xavier, we know what Xavier Crowell is more so of an in-state pride type thing, and he wants to be the best back in the state of Alabama. He's currently the number 1 back in the state of Alabama in his 26 class. I think he's the number 4 back in the nation in this class. So I like seeing that. But even guys like, having Jordan Edmonds' commitment already and him shutting down his recruiting, I think that motivates guys like Jordan, Xavier Crowell, guys like Cedarian Morgan, guys like Zion Gibson, who are already committed. Kamari Johnson that's motivating these other guys to go ahead and commit, and just kind of let's continue this persona of what Alabama is becoming. Let's not try to make it about us. And that's what I feel when I talk to these guys. Guys developing real relationships and really buying into this new age of committing to a brand, understanding that I'm committing to a brand that really sees my value and can benefit me. That's the pitch. That's the pitch. How can we benefit each other by making this commitment? And when you simplify it, it makes sense, man.
And there's one more guy that I believe can be our Nets commit, who's also making a decision next week. Mac Sutter, the tight end from Dunlap High School, 6'5", 230 pounds, and he's going to decide between the Crimson Tide, the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Illinois Fighting Illini, and the Ole Miss Rebels.
Yeah, don't count Arkansas out of that either.
Oh, I'm not.
Do not count them out. And I think more realistically, only because you're going to see guys like Sutter in systems with Taylor Iron Green, who's going to be there for another year, an experienced quarterback where he can go and really capitalize on the year and see what his type of commitment could do for I mean, Arkansas has put out quality tight ends over the years, even under Coach, what's his name that's there right now?
Oh, at Arkansas, Sam Pittman.
Yeah, Coach Pittman, and just they got a good culture. It just sucks that it doesn't turn over and carry over to the field in and year out. Like I think that's a quality coach, a good guy, really cares about his kids. That's why you see guys go there. You don't see them have portal issues a lot. They have onesies and twosies, big names that maybe hit the portal in the last few years, but they really keep their guys together and they play their brand of ball. And the fan base is solid. Arkansas fans. I've never met a delusional Arkansas fan. They're very respectful. I will say that they know their place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But nah, man.
Well, last time they did win a national title was in 1964, and that was when like Bonanza was the #1 television show, and the Flintstones still on television at the time.
Right. So you got a time to be alive as an Arkansas fan. It's just a tricky spot, man, until you get that one big in-state recruit that stays in state and resurges the energy and attracts other. That's what college football is becoming, man. It's a whole cycle. So I'm liking it. This is a Max Sutter. I think with his frame, you look at the tight end room. There's going to be Quavis is going next year. You might lose Danny Lewis in the portal. I'm hearing a lot of developmental things with Danny Lewis when he jumped in the portal earlier this before the spring ball kicked off. It was one of those things where he was trying to really see what his value was, saw that he needed to develop. Coming back to Alabama, the injuries bug gets him. You're falling further and further behind as far as the development curve, and you haven't really been able to put anything on film since you've been in the collegiate level. So, along with just the graduate guys that's going to be eligible for the draft, you got to look at guys like Danny Lewis possibly hitting the portal. You got a guy like Lockwood I think he's running eligibility. Jay Lindsey picked up some steam, this spring. And then your young guys, Caleb Edwards and Marshall Pritchett. Marshall Pritchett, I think, is going to be the next big guy for this tight end room. But Caleb Edwards is going to be a freak of nature. You get a guy like Max Sutter to follow those guys up with Jay Lindsey being your consistent Robbie Oots type feel in that room. It's gonna be a solid tight end group. You can get either Max Sutter or Roman Voss in this class to commit. And I wouldn't be surprised if you get another duo of tight ends with two different skill sets to commit in this class.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the commitment dates. I'm getting excited about watching them. It's gonna be fun.
Right, 100%, man.
Ooh.
And then I just another commit that I'm really excited about, and I know that he's going to commit to Alabama. It's just a matter of when. Xavier Griffin is the swing commit. I asked you that question a minute ago. I think he is the swing commit in this class, man. He is truly the swing commit. A lot of people look at his skill set and look at just the fit. If I was to project a future look at the inside linebacker room, I think Abdul Sanders is next as far as the catalyst Mike linebacker, and a guy like Xavier Griffin gets pulled in kind of like a Dylan Moses type of feel. When Dylan Moses got on campus, it was like we knew he was going to get a chance, and he got thrown into the fire early. And we saw his potential as a true freshman, and then the injuries kind of screwed him. But that same type of feel around Xavier Griffin, because I think the only thing keeping him from being on the field right now at the collegiate level is the fact that he's 16 or 17 and he's 200 pounds. Other than that, you throw him on the field and you love what he does. So I think that commitment there, and then just the prowess around his network of players in this class that are really connected with him. We know Gainesville has that'll be our second commitment from Gainesville High School in Gainesville, Georgia. And that's two of their top, 4 defenders that they have available on their defense. That's 2 of their top 4 guys, and both of those guys are top 50 ranked in the state of Georgia. So it tells you that Alabama is really going into these talent pool areas, these talented areas, and pulling all the quality guys out and getting guys' attention like Xavier Griffin is going to be huge, and getting other guys to commit.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's like the days are coming. Like summer is here in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. Summer rain, baby.
There we go. It's summer. Where do we begin? It's all right here.